Have you ever put an axe through someone? Or taken a limb, then watched them get back up as if nothing had happened? Snarled Hafgen, turning to confront the others seated at the table. They feel no pain, no remorse. They just kill, unrelenting, unwavering. Who are you, friend? Asked the king. I am Hafgen, sworn to my lord Arnulf. I saw it all and stood beside him as we fought the dead. You saw this, Fergus? Asked the king incredulously. Fergus hesitated, glancing around at the scornful, disbelieving faces, the amused looks of the famous Huskarls. Did he fear to risk his honour on this insane tale? Finally, he nodded. Aye, I saw it, sire. The red-haired lord gave a weak smile to his old friend Arnulf. All the while, Arnulf fought to control the fury rising inside him as he glowered at the man in college garb. He feared he'd say something he would later regret, so he held his tongue and nodded for Hafgen to continue in his stead. Our town was attacked. My lords all burned to the ground, seethed Hafgen, his voice strained, each word arduous, as if it pained him to admit what had happened, as if it was somehow his failing. His gaze rested on Arnulf and was filled with regret and veiled pity. Lord Arnulf lost his family, and we lost many of our kin. Many became cursed. Cursed? Our folk back in the north call them the cursed ones, explained Fergus. Show him, Arnulf growled through clenched teeth, and Hafgen signalled to Eren. The lad hurried back up the stairs and through the heavy wooden doors. Both doors soon swung wide open. The room fell silent, as a towering box-shaped object was slowly carried into the hall by Arnulf's warriors. They bore it into the hushed throne hall, carrying it forwards with wooden poles resting on their shoulders, a tarp concealing its contents. The warriors carefully placed it on the floor, then backed away, the crowd jostling quietly to get a better look. What is this? Asked the king, the apprehension plain in his voice. Arnulf swallowed back a ball of grief that had formed in his throat, and found his mouth dry. One of the cursed, sire, rasped Arnulf, unable to bring himself to look at the covered cage. Huskarl Warwick sharply rose from his chair. My king, what if it is plague? They have brought the sickness here. We cannot risk... A bestial roar shook the throne hall. Warwick sank into his chair in shock, the tarp shaking violently. The sound of chains thrashing wildly crashed and clunked as if some wild thing fought against them. Guards and noblemen alike shrank back from the tarp-covered litter, and the king leapt to his feet in alarm. Arnulf gave a nod, and one of his men cautiously crept forward, snatching the tarp away and hastily retreating to a safer distance. The iron bars of a cage were revealed, and within squatted a thin, wretched creature which, suddenly exposed, froze and glared at the staring audience. It crouched, wrapped in chains which were fastened to the cage's wooden floor and roof, and wore clothes that were torn and filthy rags, stained with its own excrement and blood. The creature glowered at its surroundings, its eyes finally meeting Arnulf's and fixing upon them. There was a tense pause before it erupted into a screaming, violent rage, thrashing against its bonds in a frustrated fury. The chains encircled the creature entirely, and blood ran from beneath the manacles on its wrists and ankles as it fought to free itself. Despite the noise, the violence, and the stink, King Ragnall stepped forwards and slowly approached the cage. By the gods. What is it? He muttered. This, sire, is my son.